Greetings and welcome, everybody, to a new year of navigating the cycle of emotional extremes. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my 2026 New Year's goals as someone living with bipolar disorder. What's up, everyone? My name is Tyler Adolfo. For those who are new to this channel, I'm 28 years old. I have a diagnosis of bipolar type 1 with psychotic features, and on this channel, I primarily talk about my life journey battling bipolar disorder. You see, I suffered from a 6-month long manic episode during my junior year of university, which had profound negative consequences on my life. And over the course of these last few years, I've been taking steps to slowly recapture my life. You see, as far as consequences go, I was kicked out of my university. I lost a lot of friendships and relationships in general, including with family. I lost jobs, and I got expelled from my fraternity. But I have since been reinstated in my fraternity. I have since gone back and returned to university at a new institution. I've been able to recapture some of the relationships which I've lost, particularly with family, and I've spoken with and caught up with some people from college and been able to reminisce about the experiences I had and hear about how things transpired from somebody else's perspective. I want to highlight and enumerate the different goals I've outlined for myself for this new year, 2026. I do this every year now, where I upload a video at the beginning of the year to just draw attention to what my specific goals are and what my mindset is heading into the new year. And I think the major point of this is to really hold myself accountable by putting myself out there, because this isn't just an internal thing now, it's an external thing, because there's other people who are going to be monitoring and curious about my progress, who will be checking in here and there, some more regular than others. But that's the mindset behind all this. So I've divided my goals into some different categories. One category I have for my goals is to transform myself physically. Another one is to transform myself intellectually. And then the other set of goals revolves around just returning to university, because I am taking this next semester off, spring semester. I won't be returning to college until fall of 2026, which means I'll have this first part of the year, first 8 months of the year, to be assiduously committed and focused on my personal health and self-development and growth. And I think that's very necessary, given the circumstances I've been faced with this past semester and just all the hardships I've encountered over the past few years. I included in the title as someone living with bipolar disorder because whether I'd like to, say so or not, whether I like to believe it or not, bipolar disorder is a part of my life. I don't think it is the full extent of my identity, but it is a part of who I am. It is a condition that I have that affects approximately 2.8% of the world. In some studies, it says 1% of the world. The studies are all over the place, but generally it's like less than 3% of the world suffers from this condition in a given year. And encountering life challenges with this condition is very complicated, much more complicated than the kind of problems people would encounter if they're stable, and not to diminish or downplay the severity of problems that other people face, even those without bipolar disorder. It's just that when you have a severe brain disorder, it can greatly impair your productivity and reduce the probability of you overcoming various challenges. So, physical transformation wise, one of my main goals, one of my non negotiables, is that for the year, I want to average 10,000 steps daily, which comes out to approximately 5 miles per day. And I intend to do this through primarily walking. If I get into good enough physical shape and conditioning wise to where I can incorporate some light jogging, running into that, then fine. But I want to be able to do this without getting injured. And I think walking presents the lowest risk of injury. So to start off the year at the very least, I'll be doing 10,000 steps daily of walking. And, there might be days where I feel like, I can only do 7,000 steps today. And that's okay because then I can make up for it a future day by getting 13,000 steps to make up for that 3,000 steps shortfall, to make up for that deficiency. So not every day is going to look the same. There's going to be days where I might get as low as 2,000 steps. There's going to be days where I get as high as 25,000 steps. Every day is going to be different because moods fluctuate, especially with bipolar disorder. And that's another thing is I want to make sure I'm maintaining my stability. I just graduated from a partial hospitalization program where I got to learn some coping mechanisms and create a sense of social connection, and it kept my mind active in lieu of the fact that I was no longer in school. So I want to make sure that I'm monitoring my health as well. Physical health is mental health, and mental health is physical health. And in order to do that, I have to continue taking my medications in order to mitigate and lower the probability of me encountering another major mood episode, whether it be manic, depressive, or so forth. So physically, 10,000 steps a day. And the ultimate end goal here of that subsidiary goal is I want to lose 100 pounds over the course of this year. Now, there's 52 weeks in a year. If I average 2 pounds a week, that will come out to 104 pounds. But taking into account to the fact that there might be weeks where I lose a little less, there might be months where I lose significantly more than other months. Like my first month, I might lose 20 pounds, and then the following month, I might only lose 5, and so forth. So I'm taking into account the fact that there's going to be discrepancies on a month-to-month, week-to-week, day-to-day basis. But the ultimate end goal here is that I want to lose 100 pounds this year. That's an achievable goal. I can go from 320 to 220. I know I can do it. And then, the following year, I could work on getting back to my ultimate goal weight of 180, 165 to 180. I don't want to lose too much at once. When you lose too fast, it increases the chances of you putting the weight back on. It presents other health risks from what I've read. And it also increases the risk of having excess amounts of loose skin. And I've seen photos of that, and it's not something that I think would be good for my self-esteem. So I want to lower the chances of me having excessive loose skin. I feel like I'm going to have some because of the amount of weight I'll be losing. And since I'm a little bit older than the last time I lost a lot of weight, my skin elasticity is probably a little bit lower. Not significantly, but at least a little bit lower, right? Because, when you lose a lot of weight at age 18, it's different than when you lose a lot of weight at age 28. It's different. It's a whole decade of difference, in fact. So that's the goal there. Intellectually wise, I want to make sure that I read at least one book a month. Books offer an escape to the world. For me, they're very fulfilling and they provide a sense of purpose. And the reason I'm selecting one book a month as a goal is because some books are significantly longer than others. There may be a month where I can go through 300-page books. But then the following month, I'm reading a 900-page book, which is the equivalent to those 3 books. And so I might only be able to do one that month. It might even take me 2 months to do it. Because if I'm doing a 900-page book over the course of a month, that's about 30 pages per day, which is very timely. It's tedious. It takes time in order to take on a project of that scale. But I know I can do it. And this is similar to the walking goal in the sense that every day is going to be different. There's going to be days where I read 0 pages. There's going to be days where I read 100. But the goal here is to average out to reading 1 book per month to increase my intellectual abilities. Another intellectual goal I have is that I want to begin focusing on LSAT prep, that is law school admission test prep. Because I am nearing that point where I am going to be graduating from college within the next few years, and with that means I'm going to be applying to law schools in the next few years. And the law school admission test is a huge component to that application. It's not the only component, but it is a huge component. Regardless of what people may say, it is a huge factor in determining like how much scholarships you get, whether you get accepted to begin with. And so I want to make sure I get my peak score, my ceiling score, the highest score that I have the potential of achieving. And I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm a great test taker, and I know that if I commit myself that I'll be able to do so. I already have the test prep materials that I'll need in order to get a high score. Like I have the LSAT trainer, I have a book full of practice tests that I can take. And so there's going to be a lot of things that I do in order to prepare. And even if it just means taking 2 practice tests this year. I still got plenty of time next year to study, and so I'm not going to overextend myself on this right now because I'm not planning on testing this year, taking the actual test, but I want to start laying the foundation now to familiarize myself with the types of questions that I'll be encountering and really empower myself to be in the best position possible when I do sit down to take the actual test. Another goal I have, and I guess this doesn't really fall into the physical transformation category or the intellectual stimulation category. This category is more like kind of hobbies and long-term attainment. So, long-term attainment wise, I want to return to university in the fall. And in order to do that, I need to bolster my self-esteem. I need to remain stable. Those other 2 categories are crucial to this. So hitting my daily step goals, hitting my reading goals so that I don't become rusty and am unprepared and ill-equipped to return the semester that I do return. So I'm going to be keeping busy. I got to fill out the FAFSA, but that's something that takes like less than an hour. So on any given day, I'll do that. But the earlier, the better, because you'll get greater consideration for financial aid if you do it earlier. That's what I've been told over and over again. So I'm going to try to do that as early as possible. On YouTube, and this is that thing that I was talking about that is beyond the scope of physical transformation or intellectual stimulation, is I want to make sure that I'm putting out content on a consistent basis. It would be great if I could get the channel monetized. That way I can accumulate a little bit of earnings, side money. Nothing that's going to make me a fortune, but something that would be able to help me alleviate some of the financial stressors that I encounter. And I think that I'm well within reach of getting the channel monetized. I have more than 1,000 subscribers. I'm closing in on the 4,000 watch hours in a year goal. And I think at the halfway year point, somewhere around there, if I'm consistent on uploading to YouTube, I could hit that goal. But I'm not going to, again, overextend myself here. If I don't get monetized, that's okay. My real goal is to just keep putting out content that's insightful and disseminate information that other people can benefit and learn from, especially on the topic of bipolar disorder and mental illness more generally. And the way I intend to do that is I want to upload 100, at least 100 long form videos this year. And I want to be consistent with it. I don't want to have these 5-week periods where I don't upload anything. I want to, at minimum, be uploading 2 videos per week. And I want to start out this first month very strong, so I'm going to be uploading as much as possible just to build that momentum. But then in subsequent months, I want to kind of regress to that 2 long-form videos per week at minimum in order to keep the channel growing and reaching as many people as possible. Because this channel does mean a lot to me, especially over the last few years. I've done a lot of development over the years on this channel. My channel has gone through a lot of evolution, and I really do appreciate each and every one of my subscribers. I love interacting with you guys, and it just means the world to me to be in this position to where I've been able to build up the community that I've built up so far. And the other aspect of this YouTube goal is I want to start continuing with the live streams. I've done 4 live streams in 2025, all during the month of December, I believe, just to experiment and try them out. And I think they're a fantastic way to grow the channel, a fantastic way to reach more people, a fantastic way to foster better interaction with my viewers, because I could answer comments in real time and kind of have a back and forth conversation. Whereas with comments on a particular YouTube video, I might see the comment 9 hours after it was posted, and then I respond, and then the other person might not see my comment till another 9 hours later. And so it's kind of sporadic, distant communication. Whereas with live streams, we're able to engage on a one-on-one basis a lot more efficiently. And I've really enjoyed live streaming. It's super fun. It's challenging, kind of thinking of what to say next and trying to keep as engaged as possible, especially when you don't have any viewers at a particular moment, because you're talking to yourself, literally, kind of but it's really no different than filming a regular video. And so I feel like I've prepared myself well for it, as well as I could. It is certainly different from just making a video like the one I'm doing now. But there's similarities, there's overlap, and I would like to do 52 live streams next year at minimum. So that's 1 live stream per week, in addition to the 2 videos that I film per week. And so this is one of those things where there could be room for fluctuation here, There might be a week where I do 2 live streams, and then the following week I do 0, and so forth. Just because it takes into account the fact that I may encounter a mood episode, or I may become busy and preoccupied with something else in my life. Maybe I'm super passionate about reading a particular week. Maybe I'm super locked in on law school admission test preparation a particular week. Maybe I'm filling out the FAFSA and applying for scholarships a particular week, and you get the point. There's going to be times in my life where my focus is occupied on different aspects of my life journey, and it's going to require diligence and commitment towards different tasks more than others at various times. And so this takes that into account. But ultimately, at the end, I want to make sure that I have 52 live streams. A couple smaller scale micro goals I have that are connected to longer term goals is and this may surprise a lot of people, I want to start writing lyrics again and writing raps again. Now, I've used to battle rap in the past. Interesting fact about me. When I was in junior high, when I was in college, I did rap battles here and there. And I also performed in talent shows, rap monologues, which won me my high school competition talent show. And it also won me a university talent show in 2021. So I have experience of achieving accolades with rap. And I feel like I'm smart and competent enough to actually write and possibly even put together a song. So that's something I'm looking at and exploring. But I wouldn't put something out unless I'm super confident that it was really good and worth listening to. And I would make sure I show lots of people it before I put it out to get other perspectives on how to improve it and make it even better. So stay tuned for that. Another micro goal that's related to my intellectual transformation is I want to start getting into speech drafting, because the longer term goal is to get involved in Toastmasters and compete in the international speech competition. And in order to do that, I have to write as much as possible, improve my writing. Even though I would say I'm quite a strong writer, there's always room for improvement. Every good writer acknowledges there's always room for improvement. A great writer can become an even better writer without question. And so I want to write some speeches this year. Whether or not I perform them in any capacity is a different story, but I want to get in the habit of writing, memorizing, and performing oratory-wise the different speeches that I write. So I know this is a pretty long video, but I just wanted to enumerate the different goals that I've outlined for myself as comprehensively as I can. And that was my intention with this video. What are your New Year's goals? What New Year's goals do you have, if any at all? What things are you looking to improve upon this year from the previous year? 2026, I'm excited for you. I think I'm going to kill it this year. I truly do believe that this is the year of change. This is the year that I slim down. This is the year that I truly return to school and build momentum and have success. This is the year where I'll be intellectually at my highest. I know this. I know I can do it with diligence and commitment. Insofar as I am persistent, nothing in this world is stopping me. And insofar as you stay persistent, nothing in this world is stopping you. With that being said, love, light, and tranquility to all. I'll see you all throughout the year. Peace.